accomplished. Good. Good morning. Thanks for joining me again. If you're coming back, let's go on to our hands and knees. We're doing a little bit of movement this morning, and movement of little bits of dust off your yoga mat. All right, so come onto your hands and knees. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's get right into it. Take your wrists just in front of your shoulders, your knees beneath your hips. All right, and this is where we normally keep things lined up. So let's move things a little bit out of kilter, of the normal kilter, and walk your wrists up in front of your shoulders and take your knees a little bit behind your hips. Yeah, good. So the reason we're doing this is because eventually I want you to drop the hips. You can even think of it as like a flop down, and bend your elbows. All right, so that's going to bring you into this kind of a high cobra, and you're going to move your hips back towards your heels, not all the way in child's pose, okay? But we'll start with a little bit of stirring. So let's stir the hips, right? And take your rear end into little circles. All right, so you're circling around left and right, and then go the other direction, right to left. And that's it. One more time. Good. Now move your seat towards your heels. And again, you're more extended here. So your hips are not going to come all the way down to your feet or your heels, right? And then you're moving forward. Do the little flop, elbows bend, a little high cobra here. Keep trying to keep your hands light, but at least pushing down and forward into the fingertips and tips of your thumbs. And then rise back up, move your seat back. Let's coordinate your breath. Begin to breathe in. Move forward, make the flop. And on your exhale, move in the other direction. Whee, you're back. Okay. And if you have coffee at the front of your mat, that actually helps, like, because you can really try to reach forward and breathe in that smell of coffee. And as you exhale, move your seat back towards your heels. Do that 2 more times. Come forward. And exhale back. Every morning before I meditate, I make a cup of coffee, and it usually lasts like for a couple of hours because I just keep adding hot water to it. Reach forward. And every morning, the past couple of weeks, I've left the coffee making apparatus out. And I say, I'm going to have more than 1 cup of coffee today. And I never do. Curl your toes under, take a deep breath in. Let's create a back bend through your spine, a deeper back bend. And now on your exhale, really take your navel in and up. Chin's gonna come to your chest and push through the floor. Okay, take a breath in as you control, very controlled back bend slowly. Tilt the pelvis down, tailbone up. And exhale, tops of your feet to the mat, round your spine. Good. Come into a neutral spine. Curl your toes under. Move right into downward facing dog. Let your hips lift up. Good. Because a lot of people, well, you know, we all judge each other, right? There's a judgment. There's a lot of judgment among people. And I think part of that comes from our amount of judgment that we place on ourselves, right? So keep letting the knees bend softly. The heels sink towards your floor. And your chest, your torso really, is trying to move towards that space between your legs and press all the way out to the tips of your thumbs and fingers. Take a few breaths here. All right, so there's a bit of judgment around whether or not one should be drinking coffee or anything before one begins their day in meditation or yoga practice, the physical practice. And then slowly walk your feet and hands together. And bend your knees. Grab hold of opposite elbow with either hand. So grab one elbow with one hand, the other elbow with the other hand, and let your head hang down in rag doll. And really, I think that what it boils down to is switch the cross of your form so the other one is on top. If you can't really function in life without the thing, right? If you can't move through your day without the thing, then maybe you should consider trying to come back into functioning without the thing. Release your hands down to the floor. This is not talking about prescription drugs and other things that we do need, some people do need to function in the world because of whatever reason, right? I am not a medical doctor. However, if I was drinking like a half a pot of coffee a day, breathe in, lift your arms up. Exhale, bend your knees and fold forward. And trust me, there was a time in my life when I drank 1 pot to 2 pots a day. On your inhale, come halfway up, lift your chest when I was doing my PhD research. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. So if there comes a point, breathe in, reach forward and all the way up. Where I'm so busy, exhale, lower your arms down, and I don't get that 1 cup of coffee in the morning. Inhale, lift your arms up. And I notice that my functioning, right, is really not there. Fold forward over your legs, knees bent. I might consider that the next day I skip the cup of coffee on purpose. Inhale, come halfway up. Straighten at your knees if you can, and exhale, fold forward over your legs. So you probably can straighten at your knees. That's a horrible thing to say. So what I'd rather you think about is when you lift halfway up, right, and you push down through your feet and straighten your knees, yeah? If your low back starts to round like so, then bend your knees so you can keep the natural curve in your low back, right? So if you missed that, just in case, because you were doing what you were supposed to be doing, which is paying attention to your own self, if you straighten the knees, right, and the low back starts to round like so, you want to keep that natural curve of the lumbar, the low back spine, intact. So bend the knees and really feel like you can reach your chest forward. Yes. So if you already know what I'm talking about, you're still in that half forward fold. We all are. Take another breath in here. Say as you exhale, push into your feet. Keep the low abdominal muscles knitting upwards towards the spine, towards the ceiling, and lengthen through the top crown of your head. All right, 1 more breath in here. And exhale, now soften forward, fold over your legs. So it's when we become dependent on something to function normally in the world. Inhale, long spine, reach arms forward and up. And exhale, lower your arms down by your sides. That we might consider that thing that we're dependent on might not be the best thing. We should try functioning in the world without it. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, fold forward. Conversely, inhale, come halfway up, lift your chest. Exhale, bend your knees, walk your hands forward and your feet back, please. Come into plank pose. Conversely, there are some things, right, that change the way we function in the world, and maybe for the better. Breathe in here. Stay as you exhale. Now push forward a little bit. So you feel like your heels are really over the widest part of your feet. You can look back and notice if they're sinking behind. Then you push forward, bring the heels up, right? And then look forward off the tip of your nose. Notice if your shoulders, so when you push forward with the feet, your shoulders come really right over the wrists, right? And you're still in plank pose. And you're breathing, right? So there's some things like, my favorite topic, meditation. There's some things like meditation that if you start to bring those into your world, those habits, those sort of everyday rituals, breathe in here. Exhale, lower just the knees down. So your knees, hips, and shoulders are in one line. Good. Breathe in here. And then exhale. Send your seat back towards your heels. You can uncurl your toes. And you're in child's pose. Reaching your fingertips forward. And what you might notice is if you have this habit of meditating every morning, even just for a few moments, and then one day you don't do it, inhale. You function fine in the world. Drop your hips, bend your elbows, lift your chest. And exhale, curl the toes under, lift your hips up and back, come into downward facing dog. You function fine. You're just great. You have no problems functioning in the world, but something's a little bit amiss. Something is a little bit off. There's something about your world that lacks clarity. There's a little less clarity. There's a little less presence, maybe a little more judgment towards yourself. And then walk your feet and hands towards each other. Inhale, lift your chest halfway up. Remember, bent knees if you're rounding in the low back. And exhale, fold over your legs. Now, bend your knees slightly. Lift your arms forward and up. Push down through your feet. Then the knees straighten. And exhale, lower your arms. So we realize that there are some habits, right, that are beneficial and some dependencies that are not so. Breathe in, lift your arms up and sit back into Utkatasana. This is one of the few Sanskrit, when I really call out the names of postures. I always talk about fierce pose. I say Utkatasana. Breathe in here and exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your hands, set to plank pose. Full breath in plank pose. Exhale, lower your knees and then your chest all the way to the floor. Point your toes behind you. Say hi to your coffee or your plant. Inhale, lift, tap a little bit up with your shoulders, neck, and head to Cobra pose. And exhale, lower your forehead down to the mat. Curl your toes under. Inhale, press up to plank pose or hands and knees. And exhale, lift your hips up and back. It's kind of like brushing your teeth, right? You pretty much, if you have access to a toothbrush, some nice clean water, and a toothpaste, it's pretty good to brush your teeth every day. Breathe in, lift your right foot up into the air. And as you exhale, pull that knee forward first. Shoulders start to move forward, and then you step that right foot lightly between your hands. Look back. Make sure your feet are hip distance apart before you rise up into high lunge. Feel that left heel stacked over the widest part of the foot, same as when we were in plank pose. Right? And if you stop brushing your teeth, there's a good chance that they will start to feel, first of all, they're going to start feeling pretty yucky because we all know, let's be honest, that we've gone in those points in our life every once in a while when we didn't brush our teeth. Breathe in here. First time I ever did that was camping. Take your hands, as an adult I should say, down to the mat. On your next inhale, lift your right hand into the air. Good. Stay here as you exhale. Firm that left thigh. Breathe in and out. One more inhale here. And exhale, take your right hand down to the floor. Inhale, come to plank pose. Good. And as you exhale, lower your knees and then your chest. Elbows go straight back all the way to the floor. Point your toes. Inhale, lift your shoulders, neck, and head. And exhale, send your seat towards your heels. Curl your toes under. Lift your hips up and back. Downward facing dog again. All right. And so, yeah. If you kept going, right, without brushing your teeth, inhale, lift your left foot up into the air. Exhale, bring the knee forward as far as you can. Shoulders start to move over the wrists. Lightly step that left foot up between your hands. Good. And then that right heel, notice if it's starting to sink back. You want it to be over the ball of the foot. Feet are hip distance apart. Breathe and lift up into high lunge. That's it. Nice inhale here. Stay as you exhale. Breathe in. And exhale, take your hands down to the floor. Let's keep the right hand lightly on the floor. Inhale, lift your left arm up into the air. There's a reason why a long time ago, keep breathing, there were stories about dentures and wooden teeth or no teeth, right? Because people's teeth fell out at a very young age. Breathe in here. And exhale. Well, I have to say, no, I'm not going to go into that. All right. Next inhale, come into plank pose. And exhale, lower your knees, and then the rest of your body down to the floor. Point your toes. Inhale, lift your shoulders, neck, and head up. Cobra pose. And exhale, curl the toes, lift your hips up and back. Come into downward facing dog. All right, let's stretch out those backs of the legs a little bit more. This is going to help some of you that are having low back issues and maybe through the hips. Step your left foot up between your hands. Then step the right foot about one of your feet prints forward and lower your right heel towards the floor. So you've got about a 45-degree angle on that back foot. Left knee is slightly bent. And now you're going to walk your hands up to your shin. Come all the way up. Let's keep the hips square towards the front of your mat. So roll that right hip forward. Roll the rib cage forward so it's pointing towards the front. If you need, heel toe the left foot a little bit wider, right? Keep your left hand on your mat, on your hip. Inhale, lift your right arm by your ear. Breathe in here. And as you exhale, keep reaching forward and all the way down. Take that right hand to the floor. Lower your left hand down. Breathe in here. Now remember that long spine you created in the half forward fold. Same thing happens here. If you start to round in the low back, bend the left knee slightly, right? And pull that left hip crease back. Lengthen through your spine and exhale, fold. Now, even with that left knee bent, give a little pressure through the big toe mound of your left foot and press down with that and lift that left sit bone up and back. Just another breath here. Part of the translation of this posture is intense. So if you're feeling it intensely in the left lateral outer side of that left hamstring, then you're probably doing it right. Breathing in, start to rebend left knee and step back to downward facing dog. Good. And then we'll stretch the other side so we can feel that release now in the other side. So step your right foot up. Good. Step the left foot forward about 1 foot distance and that left heel drops down, toes pointing kind of at an angle up past that left corner of your mat. Bend slightly in your right knee and walk your hands up that thigh. Come on up. Now your legs are straight, hip distance apart, hips rotated towards the front of your mat. Not really rotated, they should simply be facing that way. Right? And you're pressing into the big toe mound with the right foot, driving into the heel of the back or the left foot. Right hand stays on your hip, lift your left arm into the air. Breathe in here. And as you exhale, reach forward and down. Pause. Okay, so now you're lined up through the top crown of your head in that back leg. All right, now this is where you start to round if you're feeling really tight in the hamstring. So let that front knee bend slightly so you can keep length and natural curves along your spine. Then lower all the way down. Lower both hands down. Breathe in here. Good, and as you exhale, start to maybe push into the big toe mound of that front foot, straighten that front knee, keep driving that right hip crease, because that's my front, back and up, good, and then root into the center of that left, the back heel. Breathe in. And exhale, maybe you fold a little more deeply towards that right thigh. Right, so sometimes, there's parts of the things that we do every day that are beneficial, but we can live without them, right? We can live without our teeth, honestly. But it's nice to have teeth. It's nice to have clean teeth. It's nice to have clean breath when you're around other people, even if you are wearing a mask. Maybe that's one of the benefits of the masks. Inhale, bend the right knee slightly, step back to downward facing dog. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Everybody stopped brushing their teeth and their teeth fell out. Masks continued to be worn. And inhale, come forward to plank pose. Exhale, lower it all the way down to the mat. I hope you're laughing. And come on to your back. Right, so there are benefits to some habits like brushing your teeth and meditation and moving your body. Come on to your back, hug your knees into your chest. Right? You can function without them. You won't lose, your mind without them. But you will lose the clarity, the presence, and that bit of sharpness that comes with that awareness and that noticing about judgments that you might have for yourself and then start to emanate into the world. Push into your upper arms. Good. Press into your feet. And I literally am up and have only had about a half cup of coffee. My poor husband. Press into your arms, lift your hips. Right? This is what he deals with. I'm like a ever-ready rabbit or whatever that thing is, that pink bunny. Push into your feet, lift your hips without coffee. All right, and your arms are alongside your body. You're in bridge pose, but you're not interlacing your hands underneath your hips. Some people are morning people. I get it from my mom. Keep pressing through your feet, lifting your hips. Relax your eyes and the muscles around them. Let the skin of your forehead spread. Take one more breath in here. And on your exhale, lower your hips down to your mat. Nicely done. Walk your feet to the outer edges of your mat. Roll your knees over towards the left first. Take a breath in and out there. And roll your knees over towards the right. Take a breath in and out there. Take both knees into the center and give them a squeeze. Good. And let's let the legs extend fully and long. Let your arms rest by your sides, a little bit away from your body, palms turned up. Let your feet flop open and breathe. You'll be here for 1 minute. Well, no, 1 minute go. 1 minute go. Just 1 minute. 1 minute for you. Take a deep breath in and stretch your arms up overhead. Stretch and wiggle your toes and your feet. Hug your knees into your chest. Take your hands to the backs of your thighs and rock yourself up to sit. And once you come up, bring one hand over the other over your heart. Let your chin drop towards your chest. Close your eyes just briefly. Tapping into that part of you that you tapped in just now for a brief 30 minutes, right? That start of your day, that habit, the foundation from which the rest of your day begins. Open your eyes, lift your gaze. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me this morning. Have a fantastic day. Join me on the Soul Collective and please, please, please share it with your friends. I have a link for 3 months free. Send me an email and I will send you the link and you can send it to the world. Have a great day.